Hey everyone, and welcome to a new tutorial about implementing custom email verification in a Laravel project, where we'll be using Laravel Breeze as our starter kit and then build out our own email verification system using the existing features that Laravel provides and then working upon them to implement our own custom email verification flow. And before getting started in this tutorial, I also wanted to mention you that I have recently launched a new course about implementing custom authentication system in any Laravel project. So let me go ahead and show you the homepage. So this course has already launched in the Udemy marketplace and you can go ahead and check out the content. So we'll be implementing the custom auth solution for our custom models, and along the way, we'll look at implementing password reset functionality using password brokers. We'll define middlewares to protect each area based on the specific guard. We'll implement email verification functionality. So this tutorial is basically a part of this course. So if you like this tutorial, then I'm sure you'll love this course as well. And we'll also look at defining separate sections, layouts for the individual areas. We'll also implement this confirm password flow, and we'll also look at implementing the profile section for the custom user. And at the end, we'll also look at a real world implementation of this approach to give you an idea about how we can implement this in an actual application. So yeah, go ahead and check out the course. And if you like this email verification part, then you'll definitely love this course as well. And I really believe that you'll learn a lot of stuff along the way in this course itself. And one more thing that I wanted to mention here is that the code that we'll write in this tutorial will be available in this GitHub repo. So I'll be linking this in the description below, and I'll also link the course that I just mentioned. I'll link that in the description along with the coupon code. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. And now let's work on implementing this email verification feature, and let's start working on it. Okay, let's start by creating a fresh version of a Laravel project, and we'll set up Breeze, set up the database, and later implement email verification for the default user. And along the way, we'll work on the custom auth implementation for our custom user, implement email verification, and implement password reset and all the other stuff. So yeah, we'll look into that step by step. So first, let's start by creating a new project, and I'm gonna name it custom auth breeze. Let's hit enter. And while this is installing, I also want to show you the database setup. So what I've done is I have created a database called custom auth breeze. So yeah, we'll update this database in our project accordingly and run the migrations. And our app has been installed successfully. So let's cd into that directory, and I'll open that in my code editor. And here what we can do is on my terminal, I'll just run this php artisan serve, and PAS here means php artisan serve. I've defined an alias. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And on the VS Code, I'll go ahead and define the database for this. Let's save that. And okay, in this video itself, I also want to install Laravel Breeze. And before moving forward, I also want to mention this GitHub repo. So all of the code that I write in here with a commit for every chapter will be updated in here. So I'll be linking this in the resources below, so you can go ahead and check this out. And now let's go ahead and install our Breeze package, which we will be extending from in the later videos. So let's go ahead and install composer require Laravel Breeze, and I'm also going to pass that dev option because we don't need this in production, and this will copy all of the files that we need for our project. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so Laravel Breeze has been installed, and now let's go ahead and run artisan breeze install, and this is going to ask which stack I want, and in this case I want this blade with alpine. So I'll hit enter. And would you like dark mode support? I don't need it for now. and I'm going to use pest. So this is going to install all of the stuff that we need, and this will also be tracked in GitHub accordingly. So that's going to make it a lot easier for you to check the code step by step and by each lesson. And now it is building the node dependencies. Okay, seems like everything is now set up. The node build was successful, and now let's go ahead and reload our browser, and we should see these two links in here for login and register. And we haven't migrated the database yet, so I'll go ahead and run php artisan migrate, and this is going to run the migrations. And now I will try to register a user. So I'm going to create a user called admin because I have that data saved in my browser. Click on register and we should be logged in. Okay, everything is working fine, and in the next part we will be working on enabling email verification feature for this default user. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. In this video, we'll be looking at enabling email verification feature for the default user. So by default, what happens is even if the user has not verified their email, they're allowed to log in. And to enable the feature where only a verified user can log in, we need to implement a trait. So let's go to our user model, and here what we need to do is we need to implement this contract called must verify email. So I'll just uncomment that and implement this in our user model. So implements must verify email. Let's save that, and I'll also sort these imports so that they look a bit better and organized. And now if we go ahead and reload, then we will be redirected to the verify email page, and we can basically send a verification email to the associated user, and from that link they can verify. And to test this out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up Mailtrap in my system. So let me go ahead and set that up. Okay, so I have opened up the Mailtrap dashboard, and to test this out, what we can do is we can click on this default inbox, and you will get a guide to integrate this in any of your projects. So I'm going to choose Laravel in here, and we'll get these credentials. So I'll just go ahead and copy these and set these up in my env, and be right back. Okay, so I've set up Mailtrap, and now what I will do is I'll just try to resend this verification email so that I'll get that email in my Mailtrap account, and I'll try to verify this email from this mail that I received. And as you can see, I got this email. To verify my email address, I'll just go ahead and click on verify email address, and once I click on it, then my email will be verified and I'll be able to log in successfully. So this is the general email verification flow to implement default email verification in your Laravel app, and we'll be implementing this from scratch for our custom user that we'll be defining later for the custom guard. So yeah, we'll be learning a lot of stuff along the way about Laravel, how Laravel uses all of these stuff under the hood, and yeah, that's also gonna be an interesting one. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to show you the flow about email verification, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, things are getting a bit interesting now, and in this video we'll be defining a custom user, and along with that we'll also define the migration for that, define the columns, and later we'll implement custom guards and email verifications and all the other stuff for this custom user. So yeah, we are basically laying out the foundations for our workflow. And yeah, let's go ahead and define a new model, and I'm gonna name it custom user, and also define a migration. And custom user here means the model that I want to implement the custom guard on, and you could have a different custom user based on your requirements. Like let's say you are building an academic management system, and in that system you want the students and the teachers and the admins to log in to the system. So in that case, you could define a model for the student and define the guards for them. You could define a model for the teachers and define a custom guard for those teachers. And yeah, based on the requirements, the flow will be same. The concept is going to be almost same for every project. only the associated models and the fields could be different. So in this case, I'm going to create a custom user along with migration, and yeah, that's done. And now let's go to that specific migration file. And here what I will do is most of the stuff will be almost identical to the user model. And based on your needs, you can either add or remove these columns, but I'm going to keep these basic columns for now because we do need email and password to let the custom user log in. We do need this email verified at, which will let us know whether the user has verified their email or not. And we will need the name to display them on the navigation. And yeah, based on, and we'll also implement remember token. So yeah, these are the basic stuff that we'll need. Let's save that, and let's also add these to our model inside the fillable property. So here I'll just go ahead and define protected fillable, and let's see if GitHub Copilot is going to work. So we have email, name, email, password, and email verified at. And what else do we need? Name, email, email verified at, password, and remember token. We don't have to do anything about that. Let's save that, and let's also look into the user model, and we might take some inspirations from here. So I want to hide these fields whenever we query our model. So yeah, these are the basic configurations that I want to implement, and I think we don't need this as well since I looked into our user model. So we only need name, email, and password. Let's also go ahead and cast these. So this makes our development a lot easier and flexible. So email verified at will be of date time, password will be hashed by default. Okay, that's done. And let's see what else. We don't have anything else. And now let's go ahead and run the migrations. Let's see if we have any errors and to test whether everything is fine. Okay, let's run the migrations, and we should run the custom user stable migration. And okay, that's the general flow that I wanted to implement in this video. And in the next part, we will be working on actually defining the guard for this specific model. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, it's finally time to implement custom guard for our custom user model. And to do that, what we will do is we'll look at the existing code of our user model, and based on the implementation on the user model, we'll be implementing the features accordingly. So if I go ahead and look into our user model, then as you can see, this user model extends authenticatable and implements must verify email. We'll be looking into this later, but this authenticatable class is an important class here, which has been extended by this user model. So if we go ahead and look into this class, then as you can see, this comes with a lot of helper classes like authenticatable, authorizable, can reset password, and must verify email. So basically what these classes do is they let us implement authentication related features. And as you might have guessed from the name itself, can reset password will be used to implement password reset related features, like getting the email for the password reset, sending the password reset notifications to this specific model. And for the must verify email, we can check whether the user has verified the email. We can mark the email as verified. We can send the email verification notification. So yeah, our Laravel Breeze package is using all of these classes under the hood to implement password resets, email verification functionalities, and all the other stuff. So what we will do is on our custom user model, instead of extending this default model class, what I will do is I'll just go ahead and extend this authenticatable class. So I'll just copy this code and paste that here and extend this authenticatable class. And now this is gonna provide us a lot of helpers to implement our authentication system. So let's save that. And now what we can do is we can define a custom guard for this custom user. So that can be done by passing in protected guard, and I'm going to name it custom user auth. So basically we are overriding the default guard that this model uses. So let's save that. And let's now go to our auth.php config file, which is inside config. And here we have a default guard of web and a default password of users. So we only have one password table in our database by default, which is, okay, let's reload this. So we have a default table for password reset tokens. So this will be used by default to set and save the password reset related data. And if you dig into the code, then as you can see, we have a default guard of web, which has a driver of session, and the provider here is users. And this provider is later defined in here, and the driver here is Eloquent, and the corresponding model for this provider is this user class. So we can define as many providers and as many guards we want based on our requirements. And for resetting the password, we only have one provider, that is the users, and the table here is password reset tokens, which will expire in 60 minutes, and the throttle here is 60. So let's go ahead and define our own custom guard in here. So the default is this, and what I will do is I'll just go ahead and copy this guard, web guard, and define a custom user auth guard, and the driver here is session, and the provider here is gonna be custom users. So this provider should be defined here because this guards array will look for this specific provider that is defined here, and it should be defined in here. So I'll just go ahead and copy this line of code and define a new provider in here. And as you might have guessed, we need to define a provider called custom users because we have named our provider custom users. So I'll just go ahead and paste that here. The driver is going to be Eloquent. The model here is custom user model. So I hope that this makes sense. We are defining a new custom guard for our custom user model, and for the password resets we can basically use this password reset table, and this is going to work totally fine because every password reset is associated with an email. So yeah, we can use that, and that's the only stuff that we need to implement in here. We don't have anything else that we need to do. And for now, what we are doing is we are basically laying out the foundations for building custom authentication in our Laravel app, and you'll see this thing in action later once we actually start implementing the login functionality and all the other stuff. So yeah, this was a quick intro about implementing custom guards in any Laravel application, and in the next part we will be working on implementing the registration functionality. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one, and we'll actually see this guard in action. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's look at implementing the registration functionality for our custom user model, and we'll be using most of the code from the Laravel Breeze package and taking inspirations from it and basically extend the feature that Laravel Breeze offers. And if we go ahead and look into these views folder, then you can see that these are categorized into auth, components, layouts, profile, dashboard, and welcome. So we have these default files in here, and to deal with custom auth related features, what I will do is I'll go ahead and create a separate namespace for our custom auth. So I'll just create a new folder in here, and inside that I will try to replicate all the features that Laravel Breeze implements. So inside this I will try to create a new folder called auth, and here what I will do is I'll try to copy this register.blade and paste that in here. So yeah, basically we have an action for register, so we'll override this thing, and everything else is almost the same because we'll be needing all of these features for our custom user as well. Only the difference here is this route that we will be posting the requests to. So to deal with this, what we are also going to do is inside routes we have auth.php. So what I will do is I'll copy this and paste that again and define a new file in here for our custom user. So I'm going to name it custom auth, and this is going to represent all the routes related to the auth for our custom user. So let's go ahead and sort these, but yeah, we'll be using different controllers in here. And let's go ahead and implement this registration functionality for our custom user. So the route middleware is guest, and I'm going to give it a namespace in here. So I'll be overriding this default behavior in here. Instead of passing this namespace like this, what I want to do is I want to define a route group, and I'll be passing an array in here and pass in these attributes to our default route. So the middleware here is going to be guest, and this custom user auth middleware will be defining in a while, and as is something that will be prefixed in the route name. So let's say if I have register, then the whole route that will be built based on this group would be custom user dot register, and prefix is something that will be used in the route itself in the URL. So let's say if I want to access the dashboard for our custom user, then that would be accessed by custom user / dashboard. So for now this does not exist, or maybe it does exist, but we haven't registered this route in our web.php file. So we'll be defining new controllers in here, and I'll comment these out for now because we haven't implemented them yet. So yeah, let's go ahead and comment everything, and later we'll implement these one by one. For now I only want to work on this register functionality. So yeah, let's save that and let's go to our .php, and here let's import our custom auth routes. So this is custom auth.php, and okay, this should now work. And if I go ahead and run artisan route list, then we should see the routes related to our custom user. Okay, as you can see, we have these in here, custom user register. So this is working fine. And what else do we need to do? Okay, let's get rid of these comments. We don't need those. And okay, we need a separate controller for this. So on the app http controllers, let's create a new namespace for our custom user, and here inside that we have this auth. So I'll try to replicate the same flow. So let's create a folder called auth, and let's try to copy most of the stuff from this controller, registered user controller. I'll go ahead and paste that in here, and I'll try to make the changes in here accordingly. So instead of returning auth.register, I want to return custom auth.register. Let's see if this thing is the actual path that I want to return to. And inside resources, I have views, I have custom auth, and then register. Okay, dot register. Okay, and now as you can see, we are getting this IDE suggestion as well, which will navigate us to this specific view file. And to store the request, I want to validate these. So this looks good, and instead of creating a user, I want to create a custom user. So let's import our custom user, name, email, password, and I want to emit this event called registered. And instead of logging this default user, I want to pass our guard that we defined in the previous videos. So this guard is going to separate our custom user with the default guard called web, and they are going to have different sessions for each of those models. So in here, our guard is custom user auth. Let's save that, and instead of returning to the home, what I want to do is I want to define a new constant for our custom user. So custom user home, and in our case this is gonna be custom user and then dashboard, because if we go ahead and look into our custom auth, okay, let's see whether we have our dashboard in here. Okay, we don't have that, but on our web.php there's this dashboard that has been defined. So we'll be defining a dashboard for our custom user as well, just like we have this route in here. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I think what we can do is we can actually define this in our custom auth.php file. And okay, let's do that in here. So route get custom. Okay, instead of doing it like this, what we can do is we have this middleware, and then okay, let's define it like this for now. Custom user and then dashboard. I want to return a view inside custom user dot dashboard. The middleware here is custom user auth, and this should be verified as well. And okay, the name is gonna be custom user dot dashboard. Okay, let's go ahead and also define the dashboard for this, and we have defined this registered user controller already. So instead of this, I want to import this from the custom user, but I think we should fix up the namespace for our registered user controller. So the namespace here is going to be inside controllers. We have custom user. Inside that we have auth. Okay, the namespace is now fixed. And now if I try to go ahead and remove this, and if I try to import this thing, then I will get suggestions on my IDE about which controller I want to import. So in this case, this is going to be the custom user auth and then registered user controller. So let's save that. And okay, so now we have this register route defined in here. So the middleware is, we haven't defined this middleware yet, but we have this route been built up to us. So the name here is going to be custom user dot register. So let's go ahead and update that on our register.blade that we just defined. So if I remove everything and type custom user dot, then as you can see, we are getting this suggestion from my IDE. So this thing is now working fine, and this is a valid route. Okay, so I'm going to save this file like this for now, since we haven't defined any middlewares like this custom user auth. So we'll be defining that in the next video. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and define a custom middleware for our custom user model, and we'll basically check whether the user is authenticated or not. And if it is authenticated, then we will redirect them to their specific dashboard. Otherwise, we will redirect them to their login page. A new middleware with make middleware command, and I'm going to name it custom user auth middleware. You can append this middleware thing, but since this is going to reside inside middlewares and the namespace is going to be set up accordingly, so I'm not going to do that. So let's hit enter, and this is going to be similar to the authenticate middleware that we have that comes with Laravel by default. So I'll get rid of all of these files, and I think we need to look into some source code of Laravel middleware. Okay, we have this authenticate middleware. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. And if the guards is empty, then this is going to be an empty array, and this is basically checking. And yeah, this is also defining a redirect to method. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in here, but I'll try to implement this in a simple way. So what I will do on our custom user auth middleware is, instead of returning this next request without any checks, I want to first check whether the user with a custom user auth card is logged in or not. And if it is not logged in, as you can see, we have this exclamation here. So if it is not logged in, then I'm going to redirect to the custom user.login route with the error, please log in to continue. And if it is logged in, then I'll return the next request. So let's save this. And now we have this custom user auth, and we need to register this in our kernel.php. So let's go to our kernel.php file inside app.http, and I'm going to register this middleware inside this middleware aliases. And here I will just paste this code. So the name is going to be custom user auth, which is basically this middleware. So let's save that, and yeah, we should be navigate it to that specific middleware. So yeah, this thing is now registered properly. And if we go ahead and look into our custom route that we have in here, so this middleware is being applied, and the verified is basically checking whether the user has verified their email or not. And yeah, this should now work. So let's go and try to access our custom users dashboard. Hit enter, and okay, custom user or login is not defined because we haven't implemented this feature yet. So instead of that, what we can do is we can go to register, and we should see that page in action. And let's make some changes in here. I want to distinguish these pages. So inside register, let's see what we have in here. Okay, we don't have any stuff. Let's see, we have this guest layout that is probably coming from this layout's guest. And yeah, we'll make the changes in here later. So we'll define a custom guest layout for our custom user, but for now we are using this default layout. And okay, let's try to add a new div in here, and I'll just display custom user registration just to distinguish these pages and to know whether this is the one that is being rendered. So let's reload, and now as you can see, we are getting this info which indicates that the custom user page is being rendered here. And this is going to redirect us to this custom user.register page. And if we go ahead and look into our database, then as you can see, we don't have any users in here. So I'll try to log in through this registration page. Let's define a new user. The mail is going to be some mail@gmail.com. Password is going to be password. Let's click on register, and okay, I'm redirected to this dashboard page. So okay, let's try to look into our database, and as you can see, this was registered successfully. This created a database, but I think I probably made a mistake while trying to redirect the user. So let's go ahead and look into our registered user controller, and here we are logging the user in, and we are redirecting to this home route. So instead of that, I want to redirect to the custom user home. And let's also try to access our custom user dashboard. Let's see whether this thing is working or not. And okay, custom user.dashboard not found. So we haven't defined this view yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it's actually custom auth. So let's define that dashboard and paste that here, and you are logged in, and I want to display a different message for this. So instead of this, you are logged in as custom user, and let's also display that user's name in here. So auth guard custom user auth, and we'll access that user and display the name. Okay, let's save that, and okay, let's try to update our custom auth.php. So this should be custom.dashboard. Let's see if we get that suggestion. And okay, let's try to now reload, and you're logged in as custom user, and we are getting this some name, which is the actual name of our user. So yeah, this flow is now working fine. We got our registration functionality working. And in the next part, we'll be looking at, we had a plan to work on the email verification flow, but before doing that, I want to fix a weird issue that is happening if I'm currently logged in, and when I try to access this login page, and I should be redirected to the dashboard again if I'm currently logged in. But if I try to access the login page when I'm currently logged in, then I'll be redirected to the login page of the default user. So this is a weird issue, and we need to fix this. So let's go ahead and look into the flow and try to understand why is this happening. So on the custom auth routes file, we have a group, and inside that we have this middleware called guest, and we are passing in this guard of our custom user. And inside this group, we have these login pages. So whenever I try to access this login page, this middleware is being executed. And if we go ahead and look into the kernel file, then the name for the middleware is guest, and the middleware that is being executed here is this RedirectIfAuthenticated middleware. So if you go ahead and look into this, then this is receiving the guards and destructuring it here. And if the guards is empty, then this will be an empty array. Otherwise, this will just grab all of the guards, and this is looping over these guards for each guards as guard and applying this guard in here and checking whether the guard is currently authenticated or not. And if it is, then it is redirecting to this home route. So what I want to do here is I want to add an additional check, and if the current guard is our custom user auth, then I want to redirect it to another page. So what we can do here is I can copy this code, and I want to keep this as it is, but add a new check in here called if the guard, okay, not like this, but let's pass in a variable. If the guard is custom user auth, then in that case I want to return this to the custom user home. And we have other checks in here. So yeah, adding a simple if won't cost much in this case, since we are not creating a if else loop in here. This is a simple if, this is another simple if. So the goal here is to avoid the if else loop and returning early as much as possible. So if we have the guard, and then if the guard is this custom user auth, then we want to redirect to this route, and the rest of the code would not be executed. So yeah, let's save this thing. And now if we try to access, okay, let's access the dashboard and let's try to log in again. Then as you can see, we are redirected to the dashboard page again. So yeah, this was a weird issue that I wanted to fix, and this also lets us know how everything works under the hood, how the code execution lifecycle works. And yeah, I hope that this was helpful to you as well. And in the next part, we'll start to work on implementing the email verification flow. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, it's finally time to work on the email verification flow. So in this video, what we'll be doing is we'll be defining the email verification page. So if a user has not verified their email, then we'll redirect the user to that specific page, denoting the user that they need to verify the email. And so to do that, let's open up our code editor, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to uncomment these 3 routes related to email verification, and we will be working on this flow in 2 parts because it will take some time and a single video could get lengthy. So here what we'll be doing is we have this verify email route, and the other one is this verify email with the ID and hash. So this will be the route which will be redirected when the user will click on the mail that will be sent to them, and this is the one to resend the email verification if they haven't received one. So okay, let's go ahead and define this email verification prompt controller. And to do that, we'll go to app http controllers, and we have our auth folder, and inside that we have this email verification prompt controller. Let's go ahead and paste that inside our auth folder, and let's fix up the namespace for this. This is inside custom user and then auth. And okay, we have a simple request being injected in here, and if the request user has verified the email, then we'll redirect to this route. Otherwise, we'll return this auth.verified email. And instead of request user, what we can do is I think we can pass in a guard to this. Let's see if this thing works or not. Request user custom user auth, and yeah, we'll try to DD into this and see whether this thing is working or not. And if they have verified their email, then we'll redirect to the custom user home. Otherwise, we'll redirect to this auth.verified email for the custom user, which we haven't defined yet. So let's go ahead and define that. So I'll create that inside custom auth, and inside that we have this verify email. So let's fix that accordingly. So this is inside custom auth verify email. Let's save that and let's go ahead and work on this file now. So this is the notification that will be displaying for the user, denoting that they need to verify the email. And if we resend the verification email, then we'll display this message. And to resend the email verification notification, we can use CustomUser.verification.send, and we don't have that yet. So let's look into our route, customauth.php, and we have this verification.send. So we have prefixed this with custom user. We have this as custom user dot and then verification.send. So yeah, this should work. Custom user dot verification.send, and this will resend the verification email. And to log the user out, we can use custom user dot logout. Let's save that. And what else do we need to do in here? Okay, we have this email verification prompt controller. Let's go ahead and import that controller now. So I'll just remove that and try to import that again. And we will import this from the custom user auth namespace. Let's save that. And if we go ahead and look into our email verification prompt controller, then this is checking whether the user has verified their email, and if they have, then this will redirect, otherwise this will return this view. And yeah, we also need to implement that verified middleware. So yeah, we can do that in this video itself, and we'll try to make that middleware as flexible as possible. So what I'm gonna do here is if we go ahead and look into our kernel.php file, then we have this verified middleware. And if we go ahead and look into the content of this, okay, let's see what this is doing. If there's no user, and if it is a instance of must verify email and they have not verified their email, then we will return a simple abort if it expects a JSON. Otherwise we will redirect to this verification.notice route, and if everything is good, then we will return the next request. So I'm going to create a ensure email is verified middleware for our custom user, and we'll try to make that as flexible as possible. So okay, let's see, we have this verification.notice route, and let's go ahead and look into the route. So we have this verification.notice route in here, which we haven't worked on yet. So we have this. Okay, let's look into this controller, and this is basically gonna return this view. So okay, we have implemented that, and yeah, let's go ahead and define a middleware first. So I'm gonna name it artisan make middleware, and I'm gonna name it ensure email is verified, and this will be created inside our middleware namespace. And here we have our middleware, and we'll be taking most of the stuff from this default middleware that we have in here. I will define this redirect to method in here. Okay, where's that? And let's also go ahead and copy some other stuff in here. So this is gonna receive the request, the next, and the redirect to route is gonna be null by default. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna define a few stuff. So I'm gonna define a flexible guard which we can pass, and I'll be defining a null value as a default value. And just like we have in our ensure email is verified, we are also going to define a parameter for the redirect to route. So I'll just copy that and paste that here, and let's go ahead and check some stuff in here. So I'll just copy this whole code. And by the way, the reason we're defining a custom middleware here is because this is not so much flexible, and we cannot even pass a custom guard to this because the configuration here is really minimal. So for that reason, we are defining our own flexible middleware where we can pass in a custom guard, we can define a redirect to route accordingly. So yeah, that's the reason why we are defining our own ensure email is verified middleware, which is going to be a flexible middleware. So yeah, we can basically reuse this middleware for multiple guards. So I'll just paste that, and if we go ahead and look into this request user method, okay, as you can see, we have this guard parameter been sent to this, and it is passed as a null value by default. So we will be overriding this and passing in the guard that we receive in here. And okay, let's go ahead and pass that request user. Let's pass that guard, and if this doesn't work, then we'll try to access that by calling the auth guard and then pass the user. And we can even pass that guard in here. If the request expects JSON, then this will return this evolved 403, and otherwise we will redirect to this redirect to route, or maybe we can directly pass in this redirect to route in here. Let's import that URL class as well. Let's save that. And before actually testing this out, what I want to do here is I want to DD the guard and the redirect to route, and also want to DD this thing. Let's see what kind of output we get when we are passing in this redirect to route. So yeah, this makes debugging a lot easier when we try to intercept the code and basically debug these kinds of stuff. So yeah, we have this middleware defined. Let's go ahead and okay, where's our kernel? So inside HTTP we have kernel.php. Let's go ahead and register the middleware. So I'll just go ahead and paste that code, and the name of our middleware is going to be ensure email is verified, and this is the corresponding middleware class. Let's save that, and now what we can do is on our custom auth route file we can see this thing in action. So we have this custom auth, and to access our dashboard, what we need to do is we need to verify our email. And what I want to do here is I want to implement this feature in our dashboard. So if the user wants to access the dashboard, then they should verify the email. So I'm going to pass that ensure email is verified middleware, and we can pass in the arguments that we have defined in our middleware. So we have this guard and the redirect to route, so we can pass them by appending a colon, and in this case the guard is custom user auth and the redirect URL is custom user dot verification dot notice. If we go ahead and look into the routes, then as you can see we have this custom user dot verification dot notice. So this is the route that I want to redirect the user to if their email is not verified, which in turn will return this view if they have not verified the email. Okay, this flow looks good. Let's go ahead and test this out. And one more thing that we need to do here is our model should implement that must verify email. So right now what we have is we have this middleware, and this is checking for the request user guard, and if it is an instance of must verify email, only then we will be redirecting to this, otherwise it won't. So we need to go ahead and implement that contract. So on our models, let's go ahead and implement the must verify email contract. Let's save that, and let's now try to reload the dashboard. And now as you can see, our middleware is working fine, and this code is being executed. We can even check out the line number is 25, and this is the line number. If we go ahead and look into the status bar of VS Code, then as you can see, this is the line that has been executed. The guard here is custom user auth. The second parameter that I want to redirect the user to when their email is not verified is the CustomUser.verification.notice, and the full URL here is the app URL /CustomUser/verify email. And if we go ahead and look into our route, then this is the actual route that we want to implement. So yeah, this thing is now working. Let's comment that out. And okay, let's also look into this request user guard. Let's see what we get in here. The user that is currently being authenticated should be DD'd as per the code in here. So let's reload it once, and okay, we have fillable, guarded, remember token, original. Okay, this thing is working fine. Okay, that's good. This works. So yeah, we don't have to change any of this code now. Let's save that. And as per the flow, we have our request user, and the request user is an instance of must verify email, and they have not verified the email. And our request does not expect JSON in this case, so we should be redirected to this specific route, which in turn points to this route, and this will go to this controller, invocable controller, and we have not verified the email, so this view should be returned. And this view is this layout. So what I want to do here is I want to type some gibberish code to make sure that this is the file that is being rendered. So let's go ahead and reload. Okay, we are logged in, and I think our email is verified, or I'm not really sure what's happening here. So let's go ahead and look into the custom users page. So the email is not verified. Let's see. Let's go ahead and look into this code. We have the request user guard, so I'll try to DD this whole code. Let's see whether we get a value of true or a false. Let's reload, and okay, we get false. Request user guard is not an instance of must verify email. Let's see. Let's copy this part and again DD this and reload. Okay, this is not an instance of must verify email. Let's go ahead and alter the checking mechanism here. Request user guard instance of must verify email. So what I will do here is auth guard custom user auth, and then get the user instance of must verify email. Reload, and this is still giving us false. Okay, so I looked into this and took me a while to figure out, because this error should have been detected by my IDE, but for some reason errors like this are not detected. And the reason why this was not working is because I did not import this class, and this class doesn't even exist on this folder, and still we are not getting any errors. So for now I haven't imported the class, and if I go ahead and reload, then we'll get a value of false, because that class is not found and it is not an instance of this class, because this doesn't even exist. So if I now go ahead and import this eliminate contracts auth must verify email class, and if I go ahead and reload, then we'll get the value as true. So yeah, this was a silly mistake, and yes, these kinds of mistakes happen from time to time. You just get better with experience, I guess. So yeah, let's now go ahead and give this a try, and we should now be redirected to this specific route, and as a fallback route this will be used. So let's go ahead and reload, and now as you can see, we are redirected to this custom user / verify email route, and this gibberish code that I added is also displayed here. So the desired blade that we want to render here is this one. So the correct blade file is being rendered. And yeah, this was a general flow about implementing the email verification. In the next part, we will be working on resending this email verification email, so this will also take some time. So yeah, we'll continue this email verification flow in the next one. Okay, in this video we'll be looking at resending the verification email, and I want to do this step by step because this process is getting a bit lengthy and I don't want to overwhelm you with a longer single video. Instead, I want to divide it into multiple parts and then work on it step by step. So we'll implement this recent email verification feature in this video. So to do that, let's go to our VS Code and let's look at the route for the for that specific feature. So here we have this verification notification, and the name here is verification.send. And if we go ahead and look into the specific blade, so on the custom auth, we have auth, and inside that we have this verify email, and this is the button that says recent email verification email, and this is the route, so CustomUser.verification.send, and this is the one that resembles the route. And we want to implement this email verification notification controller. So I'll copy that controller and paste that here. Let's go ahead and fix up the namespace for this, custom user and then auth. Let's sort the imports, and to get the user which is currently authenticated for our guard, we can pass in that guard in here, which is something we have worked on already. So passing in this guard will grab the specific user, and this will check whether the user has verified their email or not. If they have, then we want to redirect them to the custom user home route. Otherwise, we'll send the email verification notification to this specific user. And this method comes from the authenticatable contract that we implemented in here. So this eliminate foundation auth user as authenticatable. If we go ahead and look into this, then as you can see, we have this authenticatable, authorizable, can reset password, and must verify email. If we go ahead and look into that trait, then as you can see, this is the method that we are currently working on. So send email verification notification. This will notify the user with this verify email notification, and this lies inside eliminate auth notifications. And to be able to send notifications, what we need to do is we also need to implement, let's go to our user model first. We also need to implement a notifiable trait. So as you can see in here, this notifiable trait is being used in our user model. So I'll just copy that and paste that in here. Let's go ahead and import that. Let's save that. And now what's going to happen is, okay, we have fixed the namespace. So let's go ahead and import that controller. So email verification, okay, what's the name of this? Email verification notification controller. So I will remove this and again import this controller, in which is inside custom user auth. Let's save that, and when the user clicks on recent verification email, then this will go to this specific method, check whether the user has verified their email. If not, then we will send the email verification notification. So let's save this, and this will also redirect back with the status of verification link sent, which will again display the status message about the email has been sent successfully. So if we go ahead and look into the verify email page, then as you can see, if the status is verification link sent, this will be displayed. So let's go ahead and look into this flow. I'll try to refresh this once to refresh the routes for this, and if I click on resend, then we should be redirected back, notifying that the email has been sent successfully. Okay, let's go ahead and check out Mailtrap, and as you can see, we just received a new email address for this submail@gmail.com, and this consists of this signed URL with the ID attached to this URL. So yeah, this is a valid URL that we'll be working on in the next video. So we'll be implementing the flow where the user clicks on this and will verify the email for that user. So yeah, we'll be implementing this flow in the next video. Okay, so what happens when the user clicks on this route? And as you can see in here, there's one more issue. What we have done all this while is we have prefixed our custom user with a custom user route and then followed by a verify email. So basically we need to build out our own solution of the verify email notification. So yeah, that also is very important because this route is pointing to the default user route. If we go ahead and look into our auth.php, okay, not this one, but on the routes we have auth.php, and if we go ahead and look, and we have this verify email and the ID and the hash. So this is the URL that is currently pointing in here. And if I go ahead and look into this verify email controller and try to DD in here, and then if I try to click on this link, okay, I am redirected to the login page because we are currently not logged in, and yeah, that flow is not working. So what I will do is I'll try to log in first with the regular user, and then we'll check out the flow. Okay, as you can see, we get this action is unauthorized. Let's try to look into it again. So this is the one that is currently being executed. So for some reason there's probably some check going on in here. Okay, on the authorize, let's try to DD in here. So this authorize method is actually being executed before we hit this code. So for that reason we were getting that unauthorized message. Let's try to reload, and now as you can see, this is the controller that is being executed by default. So we need to build out our own solution and basically send a custom verify email notification to our user. So yeah, let's go ahead and undo this thing. And okay, what else do we have in here? Let's remove this from here. And now what I want to do is on the custom user model. So we have, okay, we have this model in here, and if we go ahead and look into this user class that this model extends from, and let's try to look into this must verify email, and here we have this send email verification notification. So what I will do here is I will override this method and define my own send email verification notification method, and instead of passing in this default verify email, I'll create a new notification and then pass that in this method. So okay, I'll just copy this part and define that method in here. You can go ahead and do that because this will override this method, and whenever we call that send email verification notification, this method will be called. And the verify email is a notification that I'll be building myself. So artisan make notification, and the name is gonna be verify email. Hit enter, and that should create our verify email notification class. Let's go ahead and import our custom verify email notification. Let's save this file and let's go ahead and look into the verify email. And most of the stuff for this verify email will be taken from the default verify email that we have in here. So let's go ahead and look into this, and I'll copy most of the stuff. So via notifiable, that is fine, we have that already. I'll just go ahead and paste these properties in here, and let's see. Okay, the notifiable and then return mail. So we want to send this via mail, so we have that already. Let's go ahead and look into the construct. Okay, we don't have that constructor. And to mail notifiable, let's see, we have, okay, we have that already. And let's copy this whole code. We just need to make a few changes, as you might have noticed already, because we only need to update the URL for this. So instead of verify email, we want to append custom user and then verify email. Everything else is good. So yeah, let's go ahead, and what I was gonna do, okay, on the to mail method we have this. So I'll just paste this code, and I can probably remove this part because everything is implemented here already. And the build mail message, verification URL, and create URL using to mail using. Okay, I'll just copy this whole part, and I'll remove everything from here and paste the code that I just copied. And there are a few stuff that will be overriding in here. So let's also go ahead and copy the imports that we have in here. So these imports are necessary. Let's go ahead and paste that, and we'll remove the duplicates. So these are the duplicates. Let's sort the imports, and okay, we also don't need this construct. Remove it, and now we have all of these. We get this URL which will be passed from build mail message to get this verification URL. So let's look into this method. We'll create, okay, so this is the verification.verified URL. So instead of this, what I want is, let's go ahead and look into the route. So we have our customauth.php, and here we have this verification.verify, and instead of the default verification.verify, I want CustomUser.verification.verify. Okay, let's go ahead and update that accordingly. CustomUser.verification.verify. So this is going to create a temporary signed URL by passing in this route name and by adding in an expiry duration to the signed URL, and this will basically grab it from the verification.expire config file, and the default is 60 minutes, and the ID here is the notifiable get key. So this is the custom user model that we are gonna send the notification to. So in this case, this will basically grab the ID of the custom user, and this is basically ID of 1, and the hash here is, this will basically grab the email and then hash it and pass these to the signed route. Okay, so these are used by Laravel under the hood. Let's save this, and now what we have is, on the custom user we have our own send email verification notification. We have defined this, which is going to override the default. Okay, where's that? So this default method has been overridden, and we have passed that in our model, so this will be used. So let's go ahead and give this a try one more time. So I'll get rid of that and reload it once. Let's try to resend the verification email, and the new verification link has been sent. If we now go ahead and look into this email address, then as you can see, we have this custom user appended to our route. So this is the default behavior that I want. So this is gonna basically point to our custom route that we have in here. So verify email ID hash, and we have prefixed that with custom user. So now let's go ahead and define this verify email controller, and we probably haven't done that. So I'll copy that verify email controller, paste that inside the auth of the custom user namespace. Let's update this accordingly. So inside auth we have this, and now we also need to implement this email verification request, because if we go ahead and look into this, then this will basically get the user and get the key. So this is inside the vendor folder, so we probably have to override this and pass in our own implementation of this class. So let's go ahead and implement that. I'll just copy this class and paste that in the request folder inside custom user, because we have everything related to auth in here. So okay, I will probably paste that inside auth, and let's fix the namespace in here. So in this case, the namespace is app, and then we have HTTP, we have requests, we have custom user, and inside that we have auth. Let's sort the imports, and this extends from form request, so that looks good. So this is basically checking whether this user's ID is equal to the route parameter ID, and if it is not, this will return false. So we need to pass in the custom guard that we have defined in here. So custom auth, okay, custom user auth, that's the name of our guard. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is the one that we are referring to. Okay, where's that? Okay, I think inside registered user controller custom user auth. So I'll copy that and pass that in the email verification request, custom user auth. This will grab the key of our model, so in this case ID 1, and this will compare it with the parameter of name ID, and if it is not true, then it will return false. And this will also check for the email, whether the email is equal or not. So we need to pass in our auth guard in here, and this will grab the email, and if it is not true, it will return false, otherwise it will return true. So this is basically checking whether the user who is clicking on that URL is the actual user who is trying to reset their password. So yeah, this part of code is really necessary, otherwise anyone who have access to that link can go ahead and reset the password of other user. So yeah, this is a huge security implementation. So we don't have any rules, but on the user we have to pass in our custom auth guard. So I'll pass that, and if the email is not verified, then it will mark the email as verified, and this will emit a new event called verified and pass in the user. So let's go ahead and look into this verified user. Okay, this is probably a event. So yeah, we can basically override this and pass our own verified event. So yeah, we can do that, but I want to pass the actual associated user for this. So I have done that. Let's go ahead and import this specific request in here. So email verification request, this will check and then return to the custom user home with the parameter verified equal to 1. And if the request user, okay, we also need to pass in the guard in here, and this will mark the email as verified, and then pass in an event in here. I saw this part of code in multiple places on the email verification request as well. This is doing this. So this is basically fulfilling the request, and here as well. Okay, the request fulfill is not actually used in here. So yeah, you can go ahead and define your own implementation. What are the needs that you have? You can go ahead and do that. And instead of passing in the default user, I want to pass in my own user for that, passing in my guard. And yeah, instead of the default home, I'm gonna redirect to the custom user home with the value of verified equal to 1 as a parameter. Okay, let's save this file, and let's now go ahead and make the changes in our custom auth. We need the appropriate controller imported in here. So instead of verify email controller, I want to import the appropriate controller. So okay, we have this here, so I'll import that from the custom user auth namespace. The name here is verification.verify. Let's go ahead and give this a try. And now I'll go to that specific controller that we defined for our custom user, and inside this verification request, this is also our own custom request class. I'll try to dd here and check whether this code is executed or not. Okay, let's go ahead and click on this link, and as you can see, this is the request class that is being executed, which is inside custom user and auth and email verification request, line number 18, and yep, this is the one that is being executed. So let's go ahead and try to reload once, and let's see if this flow will work or not, and if there are any issues, then we'll fix them accordingly. Okay, let's give this a try. The moment of truth. Let's refresh. Okay, we are redirected to the custom user dashboard with the parameter of verified equal to 1. So we have successfully verified this user. Let's go ahead and check out our database whether we have this email verified set or not. I'll try to reload, and now as you can see, we have this value being populated in here in the email verified app. So this flow is now working properly. So yeah, let's see if there are any more stuff that I need to fix for the email verification flow, and based on that we'll be working on in the later videos. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, so there are a few stuff remaining on the email verification flow, and I want to implement them before we work on the password reset flow. So if we go ahead and look into the event service provider, so we have this register event which will call this send email verification notification. So this event is called whenever a new user is registered in the system. So what I want to do is I want to achieve the same flow for our custom user as well, because when the user registers in our system, and if the developer has implemented this must verify email contract, then we want to send the notification to the user. So let's go ahead and define a new event and a listener. So I'll first start by defining an event called custom user registered, and you can even go ahead and define this inside custom user namespace. Let's create that, and let's also go ahead and create a new listener, and this is gonna be named, okay, let's look into our event service provider. I'll just copy this class and paste that here. Send email verification notification to custom user. So let's hit enter, and now let's go ahead and register these events in our event service provider. So I'll just copy this part of code, and instead of registered, this is gonna be custom user registered. Let's import that class, and this is gonna be to custom user. Let's save that, and let's also sort the imports. And what do I want to do in here? So when the user registers into our system, then we want to emit this event. So yeah, let's go ahead and look into the controller in our auth. Okay, inside controllers we have custom user. Here we have registered user controller. So here we are emitting this registered event. So instead of this, I want to emit the custom user registered event. Let's import that class. And okay, so we are not able to pass this user because we have to receive that in our constructor. So let's look into this registered event. We need to receive this public user. Let's go ahead and define that, and this is a type of custom user. It's always a good thing to type hint it. Let's import that, and we are going to receive that in our constructor. So let's look into that as well. So I'll just copy this whole part and paste that here, and we can even type hint this. Save that, and okay, we don't need this broadcast on. Yeah, we can get rid of that for now because we don't need it. Let's save that, and let's also go ahead and look into the send email verification notification, and yeah, we'll get this handle event. Let's copy this part, and okay, let's go ahead and navigate to that class. And okay, instead of this method, what I want to do is let's go to this class again, and I'll just copy this whole part, and I'll type in this event as well. So custom user registered, this is the event, and this is the listener. So let's go ahead and override this, and this is the custom user registered event. And if the event user is an instance of must verify email, and make sure to import this class, eliminate contracts auth must verify email. And if they have not verified their email, then we'll send in this email verification notification, which we have defined in our model already. So this in turn will send this verify email notification, which we have defined for this specific user. So yeah, this flow is now looking good and will work really well. So yeah, let's save this file as well. And since we have registered this event and the listener, so whenever the user will register into our system, we'll emit this event, which in turn will send this notification to the user. So yeah, this was one of the things that I wanted to cover and include it in our flow. So this basically fulfills the flow of email verification. And in the next part, we'll start working on implementing the password reset flow. So I'll see you guys in the next one.